that I get so much eviction notice, and I really have to like sometimes make a decision to put food on my table or pay my rent.
Tens of thousands of people are currently on the wait list for subsidized housing here in the GTA. Among them, victims and survivors of domestic violence. And though there are systems in place that can house some of our most vulnerable, experts say dangerous barriers stand in the way.
I applied for housing when I find out that I was pregnant with my first son.
That was 12 years ago. Faiza Abdi, now a single mother of 5, is still on that waiting list. In her initial application in Peel Region, she says she was too scared to disclose a reality that may have gotten her on the list for priority housing.
I was really afraid of that. If I say that I'm in an abusive relationship, they will call him and they will like confront him, right? So then he will know that I said something.
Since 2009, Faiza has been paying $1,300 a month for a cramped 2-bedroom apartment. In 2018, after the father of her kids was jailed, she says she felt safe enough to tell housing officials in Peel about the abuse she endured. Their response?
If he's already in jail, then there's no threat there that you need it right now.
A spokesperson for Peel Region says they can't comment on Faiza's specific case, but there are factors that impact wait times. Quote, including but not limited to location preference, building site preference, and number of bedrooms requested. Unfortunately, units with 3 bedrooms or more are in exceptionally high demand. Supply is extremely limited and turnover is very low. Faiza says she qualifies for a 3-bedroom, but she didn't ask for much, that she would take anything. She receives no financial assistance, works part-time, and goes to school. But during the pandemic, she has to stay home with her 5 kids.
I've been neglected from everybody, like including the government.
Sadly, Faiza's story isn't unique. It's one experts and frontline workers have heard before.
Housing is the first, probably basic necessity that anyone needs to begin to rebuild their life.
Though there are priority placements for victims and survivors of domestic violence, experts say barriers get in the way, including proof of abuse and time constraints. They'd have to be living in high-risk environments or have left within 3 months.
If you've just escaped a very violent home, or you've just had your life jeopardized or your kids jeopardized, you now have to disclose your story. Not everyone's ready to have that conversation yet. Not everyone is ready to share what they've endured in order to secure housing.
There are nearly 15,000 people waiting for housing in Peel Region and almost 80,000 households in Toronto. Wait times as long as 13 years. Nina Gorka is calling on governments to invest in multi-tiered solutions and address eligibility barriers.
There has to be flexibility when we're talking about housing and survivors of violence.
A spokesperson for Faiza's Brampton City Councillors Rowan Santos and Paul Vicente tells us the matter is currently being reviewed and they're pushing for answers.
It's just so hard for me just to support my kids, and I just want my kids to have like proper home, and I can't give them that.
There's more to the story. If you take your cell phone camera and you point it to the code at the bottom of your screen, that will take you to our website, citynews.ca, where you can learn more about the ripple effects the lack of housing has had on Faiza and her family, and also get a closer look at wait times for housing in the GTA. For City News, I'm Faiza Amin.